primary focus in the first half of today's show is this Reso plate, license plate resonator guitar. Reso plate because it is an acoustic resonator, inspired by the classic resonators made by National and the Dobro company and all of that, but of course using a license plate as the resonator, as the soundboard metal resonator body. Of course, people have been building conventional resonator guitars for many years using spun cones and stamped cones and all sorts of things, and we produce and sell some here at c.b.gitty. But there's always been something about the license plate, hasn't there? For homemade instrument builders, for cigar box guitar builders, license plates have always had a special appeal. Of course, you're repurposing something used, cast off. Most of us who have owned and driven cars have a couple of license plates hanging around somewhere. Maybe we got some from our dad or our grandpa or somebody like that, handed down. There's, of course, thousands of different styles. Every state has its own design. Every state has had many designs over the last 110 years or so since they started being used. So the license plate is an awesome addition to a homemade instrument. Has the great bonus of sounding awesome. This guitar with a license plate on it, of course I don't, well, here we go. I've got one of our Tupelo tenor kits here, and it's very similar kit. The construction methods are very much the same. The amount of time it takes to build is the same. The Tupelo tenor, of course, has that plywood top, not quite in tune. Has a nice sound to it, a nice acoustic, nice acoustic tone to it. Of course, the mountain tenor, which is fully acoustic, has an even fuller tone because it doesn't have that magnetic pickup hanging in the soundboard there and deadening it a little bit. But something about this license plate, man, it really rings out. It has just enough of that metallic, Dobro-esque. Gotta be careful using the term Dobro because it's still trademarked, so pretend I'm putting a trademark on that. Dobro National Resonator, that metal sound really comes out. Now this is an aluminum license plate from the state of Mississippi. By default, this kit, which listed today, you can get one for 109 bucks. Let's call it $110. Includes the license plate, all the bits, the full how-to guide, fully revised and carefully checked by me myself. You can get it for 110 bucks, and that is including the license plate. If you've got your own license plate, you uncheck the little box and it knocks $5 off the cost. You can get it for $105. I think I saw Michael Capato, somebody maybe asking how big the box is. It's 12. The license plate, a standard license plate, is 6 by 12. So this box is 12.5 by 8.5, because I think I saw Tim Henderson out there suggested, hey, make the box a little bigger so you can have sound holes in there. And of course, I tried that out, and by God, it worked pretty darn good. Start giving people the impression that's the only song I know how to play if I keep but it's got great tone, a nice banjo style bridge on there, the action nice and low. Now, as you know, well, you may not know, but I'll tell you, these Mississippi plates, they say birthplace of America's music. They celebrate the creation of the blues, which of course is attributed to Mississippi. That's why this state license plate of Mississippi is claiming that. Now, they have a nice flat space right here in the middle where the bridge goes, because this is a 23-inch scale. Some license plates do not have a nice flat spot there in the middle. There are raised letters or numbers in the way. However, with this style, banjo style bridge, you can see there, you can file down 1 foot to all 3 feet. You can file that down as needed to get it to sit evenly over whatever kind of license plates you have. Somebody asked about the box design. It is specially designed. We kind of had to take the basic idea that we've been using for the tenor kits and tweak it with the bracing. There's bracing that gets glued onto the soundboard. I wouldn't call it more advanced in terms of construction, but it did take a good bit of figuring to get it right, which is part of why the price is just a little bit higher, to cover all that time and R&D effort that went into it. Marty asked if we're going to be selling the box on its own. Hadn't even really thought of that, Marty. I tell you, been focused on just getting the kit to market. To be honest, it takes a bit of doing.
If demand ever gets high enough, maybe, but for now.
Yeah, I mean, but then, you know, because we pre-cut the boxes with the side panels with the neck insert holes, and there's not really a strong reason we couldn't. So yeah, like Nick says, if people keep asking, then we might just do it. So yeah, your own license plate. Now, older license plates, some of them were made from steel, of course. The more modern ones generally aluminum. This is designed for a more modern standard license plate, 6x12. So if you've got one of the older mini ones or weirdly shaped ones, using it on this kit might not be a good idea. But if you don't want to worry about any of that, we'll send you one of these cool Mississippi plates, and you can do it right up with that. I'm very excited about this kit. Sent one down, the first prototype. Sue Messias got the first retail one. The first prototype went out to Shane on Monday. Is Shane chimed in out there yet?
I haven't
He's probably, I ain't gonna lie, he's probably out in his woodshed putting this kit together. If he's not out scouring York, Pennsylvania for pipe organs. I don't know if you saw Shane's latest email. Somebody offered him a pipe organ disassembled for free if he'd come get it. So what did Shane Spiel do? He went and got it. And no idea what the heck he's gonna do with it all, but you know Shane, he tends to have a few plans bouncing around in that fuzzy head of his, so he might be out in the shed putting together his Reso plate guitar right now. You know, the license plate, one of the reasons it appeals, I think, is that it's kind of a piece of Americana imagery. You know, if you think of when the car kind of took over from the train and the trolley as the means of people getting about, the license plate there on that front of the car, that was kind of your ticket to ride. Once you had your car registered and running, ideally, you know, off you could go. The whole traveling era, when people really started to move around the country, sometimes not entirely voluntarily, like during the Dust Bowl years, there in Oklahoma and Nebraska and the Dust Bowl area, they'd pile it all on the old Tin Lizzie and head for California, often with not entirely great results. But and then later, you know, into the 40s, the post-war era, people really started traveling around. Into the 50s, the beatnik era. If you've ever read Jack Kerouac's On the Road, you know, he talks about just whipping back and forth across the country on a whim, often helped along by some illicit substances. But you know, the license plate kind of represents all of that. The moving, the rambling, the roving nature of Americans who have a hard time sticking around in one place for all that long throughout our history. And of course, there's some other imagery that goes along with the license plate. I mean, growing up, the kind of, I don't want to say myth, but the legend, of course, helped along by Bugs Bunny cartoons and such, was that prisoners in prisons were stamping out, breaking rocks and stamping license plates. And in some cases, a lot of cases, they actually did. Prison labor was used to stamp license plates. So it pulls some of that in, you know, prison songs, blues songs, country and western, you know, the Resonator sound, the dobro sound in country and bluegrass. A lot of them songs are about roving and rambling.